Do you actually have to be on cocaine to be on this podcast?
It's a great day to be a Wildcat!
Cocaine.
Durfing.
What is up, everybody? You are listening to yet another edition of Cocaine Willie, the official K-State representative on the College Huddle. I am your commissioner, Bob Trollsby, and as always, I'm joined by my co-host, the good chef, Andre Napier, and the international man of mystery. It's looking, I don't know, what's the name of the guy that plays John Adams and John Adams on HBO?
I watch sports. I have no idea what you're talking about.
John Adams that plays John.
Who plays who?
Who's that?
Who watches that on HBO?
Well, it was on a long time ago. What's the name of this guy? What's the name of?
Are we talking about the play Hamilton?
Ted Lasso.
No, it's the miniseries played by Paul Giamatti.
Hey, you do look like Paul Giamatti. Oh my God!
It's the mustache, and you're full bald right now. So
wow, Paul Giamatti.
Oh, it's great to be back, isn't it?
How was it north of the border?
You know, Canada. It's a interesting country. You know, they have a lot to say about America these days. This is not a politics podcast by any means, but I did pick up a lot of chocolate, Canadian chocolate. Infinitely better than American chocolate. Just letting everybody know.
Where does it rank in Dubai? Where's Dubai chocolate rank?
Dubai chocolate is a type of chocolate. Canadian chocolate is buying chocolate from Canadian grocery stores.
So you bought Hershey chocolate in Canada.
Cadbury chocolate,
which is English
better.
English chocolate, by the way.
And they have the best candy bar, Coffee Crisp. Best candy bar. It's kind of like a
Crunch bar?
It's a bigger Kit Kat, but it's flavored with coffee. So it's like fatter. It's like a fatter Kit Kat, layered wafer bar with.
That's what they called
coffee.
me in high school.
A fatter Kit.
Layered wafer bar or fat Kit Kat.
Was that your rap alias? Fat Kit Kat.
Oh no!
My favorite Paul Giamatti movie. Well, my favorite Paul Giamatti role he played was in The Negotiator. When he, if you've never seen The Negotiator,
no,
get on it right now. It's so good.
Wasn't he in like Little Miss Sunshine or something? I don't know.
Oh yeah, I think so.
Like some. I don't know. I don't know much about.
That's the one where they ride in the van with Steve Carell, I think.
Okay, I don't think he was in that.
Yes.
Wow.
Anyway, as always, this podcast is sponsored by Auntie May's Parlor, located at 616 North 12th Street in the heart of Aggieville in Manhappiness, Kansas, America, the Little Apple. As you know, they are the go-to spot in Aggieville and Manhattan for craft cocktails, draft beer, and everything in between. And as you all know, they have live music, comedy, and all sorts of other events every single week as well. Okay, we've got Trivia Smackdown tonight, so we're doing this right now. So if you're listening to this, you are not going to Trivia Smackdown unless you're already there. They've got Pride in the Parlor tomorrow, Thursday, July 31st. And on Saturday, they've got Mac Falling Star and David Spiker. They are descending on Auntie May's. There's a $5 cover, and Casey Beer Co. is sponsoring that. The last one that I'll plug here, Sunday, August 3rd, we have Him for Her at the Parlor. And Him for Her, but him is spelled like him, like a church hymn. So interesting play on words there. But yeah, as you all know, go check out Auntie May's at 616 North 12th Street. And at some point, I need to get these mailed out to Mr. Jeff over at Auntie May's, but we've got koozies that you will be able to purchase in the parlor. So next time you go to the parlor, assuming it's, within the next few weeks, I think it's going to take me another week or two to get things out to them. But quit shaking your head. I put you on koozie duty originally, Matt, and then you didn't follow.
You didn't put anybody. There has no duties been assigned. I have not been assigned any duties.
Beg to differ.
You guys keep saying duty.
Stop it. I knew you were going to say that.
Here's the deal. You can get the new Cocaine Willie Wildcat Country Let's Ride collaboration koozie at Auntie May's probably in the next couple of weeks. So be sure to stop by 616 North 12th Street and be sure to tell them Cocaine Willie sent you. So tonight, what we're going to do, last year we did this and we took like an hour and 40 minutes to do this. We're going to do an abridged version tonight where we are going to be doing Big 12 predictions. We're going to have our final standings. We're going to share some matchups that we think throughout the season are going to be pivotal for the season, for the Big 12 final projections, final standings that I think are going to make an impact on who's going to be showing up in Arlington, who doesn't. That could play a role in tiebreakers, that whole thing. But we're going to predict the whole Big 12 season. So we did this exercise last year. The three of us went through it again today to kind of go through and predict every single one of the matchups. But again, we're not going to belabor it going week by week. We're just going to go and share which matchups we think highlight kind of weeks 0 through 4, weeks 5 through 9, and then weeks 10 through 14. Then we'll share our final predictions for the Big 12 standings, and then who we think is going to make it to Arlington and who in tandem is going to be making the college football playoff. Will there be one representative? Will there be 3 representatives? Who knows? Brett Yormark's wet dream of 3 may come true with one of us. Who knows? But let's get it kicked off. I wanted to first take a look back at some of the predictions we made last year.
Oh God.
So I'm going to start off with that. So we all laughed about Matt being high on ASU last year, and I think he had them 15th out of 16 teams last year. And Chef and I were cracking up like, "You're high on ASU. What the hell does that mean?" I think you had them winning 1 conference game or 2. Guess you won. Guess you won the whole Big 12. So I guess you were closest to the pin on that one, Matt. So relative to the rest of us, that's kind of funny.
Interesting.
I refuse to admit that he got anything right, seeing how he picked them 15th out of 16 teams. I mean, that's just really, did he predict anything right there?
No, he was just high on ASU relative.
I was high on ASU. I was high on ASU.
That line was repeated 2 or 3 times
all the way through
in the last year's pod. Chef, Matt, and I, we all had K-State winning the Big 12.
Wrong.
And I believe all 3 of us had us beating Utah in the Big 12 championship.
Very wrong.
So that's how things shook out last year. Definitely a very different story when we saw the season play out the way that it did. So hopefully we can be a little bit closer this year than we were last year. But I guess to get things kicked off, when we look at week 0 through 4 for the Big 12 schedule, there are some really interesting matchups. Obviously, this is primarily like non-conference territory for the most part, but you do kick things off in Dublin, Ireland with K-State, Iowa State. We've also got in those first 4 weeks a matchup between Auburn and Baylor that could have some interesting implications for the league. Georgia Tech and Colorado coming off of a nice season last year, and Georgia Tech, I think, was much better than anybody expected them to be last year. So will they repeat with that? Will they not? And then another couple interesting matchups I'll just highlight here: Utah and UCLA. UCLA obviously getting Nico Iamaleava and a lot higher expectations for Utah this year. And then the last one I will highlight is TCU and North Carolina playing the Fighting Bill Belichick's out in Chapel Hill, North Carolina. But those are some of the headliners. But any of those that I didn't mention that are piquing your interest for this first 4 weeks? Obviously, that's the first week of the season, just highlighting that. But through the first 4 weeks, what other matchups between any other teams stand out to you?
Did you say Baylor SMU?
That one's intriguing.
Yeah, that's for me is out of all of them. I think we can say the Auburn game for Baylor, but Baylor SMU is going to set like the precedent to if Baylor is for real. Like, I think Auburn could be sneaky. Even if they beat Auburn, I don't really know if you're going to get the test because I think Auburn's going to be a real Jekyll and Hyde team. And then SMU, I think they're going to be consistent. So I think playing them on the road is going to be sneaky for Baylor. Because let's say Baylor does drop that Auburn game. Who knows what could happen if they drop that SMU game? It's going to be pivotal that they get at least split of that. And then also, I know this isn't going to happen, but I kind of want to just see where the Big 12 stacks up. And this is really going to be where the talking heads come in. Oklahoma State traveling to Oregon. If they, I kind of want to see where you guys are at when you look at that game. If they keep it within 21, I think that's a win for the Big 12.
Okay.
I don't know if they will, but
win for the Big 12. But
I think it would be a win for the Big 12 if some are saying a bottom tier team can, well, not some are saying, everybody's saying it, but can stick around and not get completely skunked by probably maybe the second best team in the Big 10.
Is keeping it within 20. I mean, 21 is that's a big measuring stick, though. Like I would say keeping it within a score or two.
I bet that spread. I bet that line is going to be 18 points.
Probably.
I mean, probably close to 20 something.
I don't mean 21 points.
I bet it's
sticking.
I bet it's
them,
14 to 17.
14 points for
Oklahoma? I said 14 to 17.
No chance. I think that
because,
14, 17 for sure. I think
17
is below.
Oklahoma State's going to get bias, like historical bias for being
early line. Can we check an early line here? Can we get an early line?
Win their first game, they're playing some FCS team, probably by 35 to 42 points.
No.
Yeah. They're playing. Oklahoma State is playing
Stephen F. Austin,
UT Martin. They're going to probably win. They're going to probably
UT Martin
win.
hung around with us, so
okay. They're going to probably win by 35 to 42 points. So you're not going to really have much to dive into to say, Oklahoma State is going to be underdogs by 18 to 21 points on the road at Oregon. They'll get at least a bump because they're from the Big 12, whether it's deserving or not. I think it's probably going to be 14 to 17 for the line. Now, okay. I think they're going to lose by more than that. I think they're going to probably lose by like 28. I don't think it's going to be a really good look for the Big 12, but that's because Oklahoma State I don't think is going to be very good. And I think Oregon is going to be really good.
I do too.
Week 0 to week 4. So my game is Texas Tech at Utah in week 4. Huge game to start Big 12 play for both teams. Obviously, a lot of hype with Texas Tech. And they got to go and start their Big 12 season on the road against a Utah team, which a lot of people have put a lot of stock into. Kyle Whittingham revamping and getting that Utah team back to where they were in the Pac-12. If Texas Tech's going to have a chance to win the Big 12 this year, they're going to have to win games on the road. And I think Texas Tech is going to be a team that, especially, they're going to get a lot of talk through the beginning of the Big 12 season, especially during non-conference play. I mean, looking at their schedule in the non-conference, I mean, they are playing a lot of nobodies in the non-conference. And so I think, other than an Oregon State team that's going to come to Lubbock, Texas Tech's probably going to be 3-0 going to Salt Lake City for that game, probably averaging wins by at least 35 points.
You love that 35 number. That's crazy.
I do. Probably averaging, like they'll beat Pine Bluff maybe 56-3, and Kent State's the worst team, right, in FBS. At least they were last year. So I think there's going to be a lot of hype with Texas Tech early in the season, just based off of who they played, and they're going to go into a pretty hostile environment at Utah. So I think that's out of kind of the week 0 to week 4, not counting our game.
Right. I like the Colorado-Houston game as well.
Okay.
For me, you got to think the early lines. I mean, Bob already laid out like the big matchups, but like some of these games are going to differentiate teams from, that 5th place to 10th or 11th place. These are the early games. I mean, that's a first conference game, and really no warm up because Colorado got. I think they have a service academy too, or did they have Delaware and somebody else? But I mean, it's just
Delaware, which is in their first season in FBS. So
I mean, but there's no the warm ups aren't getting any, like, they're not coming from anywhere. There's
Georgia Tech.
Georgia Tech. So I mean, that could be an early loss right there, and you're fighting for your life at that point. So that's why I like Willie Fritz's squad. People are kind of backing him now out of nowhere. People are loving that Fitz train, even though we poo-pooed him in our coaching rankings. I'm telling you, I think one of that game like that is going to they're not going to be contenders, but people are going to be fighting for bowl eligibility, and you got to get those early games like that, especially early in conference play.
I mean, I think probably the most fun game will be the Border War.
I have that as one of my highlights for sure.
I'm excited to have that back just as a college football fan. Columbia is going to be really fun for that game. They'll probably actually sell that stadium out, which is exciting for them. And KU is like this team that I don't really know what to expect from them. I don't necessarily like the offensive coordinator hire they made this year. And I don't, they're just kind of this unknown team. I think there's going to be some hype for them early on in the season. And, especially playing at Missouri, that's a huge game for them if they could somehow, steal a win. I also, because I don't know much about KU, they're hard to kind of gauge. But from a schedule perspective, they are a team that could easily start the season like 4-0, 5-1, but the back half of their schedule is a real tough back half. So they could be a team that starts off 4-1, 5-1, and goes 6-6. I mean, just with kind of how their schedule is lined up. So that game is going to be really fun in Columbia. I'm excited to see that rivalry get back and ramped up, and hopefully at some point they're able to move that to Arrowhead at one point too, and do kind of a full neutral site. But that's a good one.
You mentioned the North Carolina versus TCU. Who gets them first? Is it TCU or UCF?
TCU gets them first.
Okay. I think it's going to be interesting to see. That's another one. Like, does North Carolina and Bill Belichick, do they pants the Big 12, or do we don't show them what college football is really about? I'm looking forward to those two games as well.
I don't know what it is about TCU and somehow their first matchup of this season and then 2 seasons ago are against the biggest coaching offseason headline getter in a coaching carousel. Originally it was Dion when he first went to CU, and they open up the season with that Dylan Edwards game. And then North Carolina with Bill Belichick, they opened the season with that on September 1st. So it's funny. It's just funny. There are going to be more eyeballs on TCU in those 2 games than probably any other game this season.
Yeah, no doubt.
Well, and CU is making the return trip to TCU this year as well. Something I noticed. So
wasn't this a 3? Wasn't this 3 out of 3 games? Because I feel like TCU played Colorado before they were in the Big 12.
They did.
Yeah. So this is back to back seasons, 3 seasons in a row.
No, this is back to
the year before. It was the year before Dion got there.
They made the trip to Boulder,
right?
And then they made the return trip to Fort Worth, and then they didn't play last year.
Oh, okay.
Now they're playing this year, so it's back-to-back trips to Fort Worth for Colorado.
Okay, I got it.
But yeah, it's going to be a weird one. Okay, so that's weeks 0 to 4. We've got weeks 5 to 9 next. I'll kick it off with one of the ones that I'm most looking forward to, and that's going to be Arizona State versus Utah at Utah, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. And if those two teams, I mean, there's a lot of hype around Utah right now, and it feels in some ways like DeQuan Finn with the Devin Dampier. What is it? Is it anything? I don't know. I guess we'll find out. But if the hype is real and not like DeQuan Finn last year for Baylor, then Utah's definitely going to be a force to be reckoned with, because that defense is always firing on all cylinders. And they just needed, they were missing a good offense last year is ultimately what it came down to. So if they can have the offensive prowess they need to, stick it with the top in the Big 12, like they did in the Pac-12 when Cam Rising was healthy, then I think they could definitely make a run for Arlington and Arizona State. They lost Cam Scattaboo, but they did pick up a good running back transfer in that Kanye guy, Kanye Udo, I think is his name, from Army. Kanye Uday?
Yeah, I like it.
Uday, yeah. And Arizona State, I mean, Kenny Dillingham did the impossible last year. And it's not often that these teams are going to go back-to-back years with the ball bouncing their way every single time. But Arizona State has a damn good quarterback too. So with Sam Leavitt. So I'm looking forward to that game, because I think that's going to be a big challenge for both teams going into I'm not sure exactly which week that is. Let me just double check here, but I think that's going to be an important game, and I'll look that up in the meantime, but I'll let one of y'all rip on this next.
I mean, K-State versus Baylor in week 6. I mean, I'm not as high on Baylor as everybody else is, and I think that they could have some early losses in the season. But if the flavor of the week in Baylor does come to fruition, and they are, right there in the thick of it, undefeated, let's say, in week 6, and K-State rolls into town, our first real big road game, that has got my attention, and it's going to be instrumental in if K-State does anything this season, because really that's your first road test, and then you've got some smooth sailing in between there, where games you think might not be as difficult before you get to that like week 10 or week 9, week 10, week 11 kind of settings, where that's really where your season is made. But you got to have that one versus Baylor, especially if they're really, really good, especially if they're in contention.
ASU Utah is week 7, by the way, so kind of right smack in the middle of the year, which also adds some intrigue to it.
Well, and then you go week 8, Texas Tech goes to Arizona State, and what could be two teams at, battling for, at the top of the Big 12. Week 8 is kind of an interesting one there. And then we include week 9, right? So, Sunflower Showdown this year is going to be it's going to be interesting. I'm dreading it. I always dread it, no matter what. KAU could be 0-8, and I would still dread that game. It's probably it's going to be interesting.
I don't think so. I'm not sold on them. I'm literally not sold on them. I mean, they have a returning quarterback, but is he a top half of the league quarterback?
It's more so the rivalry component for me.
The rivalry component.
But before these last 2 games, were you even thinking the rivalry was part of it because we were blowing them out and all that? So, I mean, I wasn't.
Well, 2 years ago, we almost lost.
Yeah.
Last year we almost lost.
Right.
So a lot of it, I think, will have to do if there's something with KU this year, like if there's legitimate hype with them. But I I'm always nervous about that game. No matter what.
And that's okay.
It's a new stadium.
Who goes there
I'm not
first?
saying what?
Who do they play first to christen this stadium?
Fresno State.
Oh, it's not a nobody then, but
not a nobody.
Derek Carr. Fresno State. I mean, week 9 doesn't really have many good games in it, but that one's probably going to be the one that a lot of people will be talking about. Yeah, I mean, depending on things like, I mean, is BYU gonna regress to the mean this year, or are they gonna be better because they go on the road to Ames in week 9? Colorado and Utah. I mean, that's kind of a fun little rivalry game from the Pac-12. You know, those teams meeting together. I mean, it's definitely hard to obviously judge a lot of these teams because, you know, in week 9, things could be a lot different, than what we're looking at. But week 8 is I think a big one. I mean, you have Tech at Arizona State. You know, we're off that week. You're going to have Utah going on the road to BYU for the Holy War, which, again, BYU regresses to the mean. Maybe that's not, as big or a competitive game, but any team that goes to BYU is going to be in a fight no matter what. And if Utah is going to want to try and make it to the Big 12 championship game, they're going to have to go on the road and beat beat BYU. Right. But I kind of going through this, at least the first 9 weeks, a lot of people have talked about Arizona State's schedule. Mm-hmm. And I feel like I've seen a lot of people saying Arizona State's schedule is they have a pretty easy strength of schedule this season. And I'm not saying they don't by any means, but I think there's some games in here that could trip them up. I think going on the road to Starkville and Mississippi State is going to be a tough game for them.
You think so?
Yeah. I've seen some stuff on Mississippi State, just, kind of keeping up with what other teams and conferences or what other conferences are looking like. And, that's an early season road test against an SEC team is going to be a tough game. Arizona State should beat them. But again, these are the type of games that if you're trying to be a top team in your conference, you have to go and perform. But this is a team that's going to be, they get Iowa State. They're going to play Utah, Texas Tech. These are teams that probably projected to be top, not just half of the conference, but probably top 6 teams in the conference early on in the season. It's going to be a very interesting kind of early part of their schedule here.
Yeah, I mean, it's very interesting that you bring up what Arizona State did this year with their schedule, and it brings me back to what they did last year. I mean, with no pressure on them. I think they had that one Friday game versus Texas State.
Yep.
And they were in a fight. Dogfight. They were in a fight that game. And it makes me wonder, I'm not giving any credit to Mississippi State, but it's very, one of those games you go on the road early in the season, but this time they do have all the pressure on them because, everybody's loving Arizona State. They're, the defending champion. So it's going to be interesting. I didn't put much credence into that, but you're opening my eyes, Matt. Week 9 also, I keep bringing up Baylor, and not Baylor week 9, it's Baylor week 8. And I think that TCU game, that's a rivalry game. The wheels could fall off. It is Dave Aranda. He was hot 2 years ago. Yeah. Is this the season that he needs to get it done? And if he doesn't, is he out of there? I mean, obviously we could bring up the press conference that he had. It was very, an all-timer. I love it. That's how I talk. So, he's one of us for sure. So I think there's a lot of pressure on Baylor. And I think very similar to Arizona State, it could come crashing down really quick, and by week 8, he could be cooked. And we're one of the favorites in the Big 12 is out of there.
I don't know what to think about Baylor. I really don't. Sawyer Robertson is a good quarterback. He didn't play great in that bowl game though against LSU. That was a good LSU team for the most part. I don't know. I went back and forth on LSU last year, and I do think when I went through the whole simulation this year, I think LSU is going to be better this year because they're returning Garrett Nussmeier. He's going to have another year of experience. I think if he can make a similar leap to like what Avery could do this year and reach his full potential, I think they could be a really tough team to contend with in the SEC. So I don't know. I don't know what to make of Baylor. They did lose that game. I don't know. They've got a lot of NIL resources similar to Texas Tech. Granted, they don't have a $40 billion donor the way that Texas Tech has, but that's not to say that they don't have money and they're going around wearing T-shirts at practice saying we pay our players, right? So I don't know. I don't know
what world we live in now.
I don't know what to make of Baylor. I have them in my final standings in the top half, but I don't have them. I don't have them above the 10-win mark. I've got them towards the top, but it's one of those teams we won't really know what we get with Baylor until we see it in action. And to both of your points earlier in the season, the Auburn and the SMU game are really going to be an important litmus test for that team, because if they split that's going to look good for them. If they go 0-2, that could spell doom. that could be very, very bad. All right, let's go into weeks 10 through 14. So let's cap out the season here. I will give my heartfelt answer, and then I'll give my non-heartfelt answer. My heartfelt answer is K-State at Utah. I think this is one of the biggest pendulum games of the season for the conference, and if both teams are what people expect them to be, this is going to be a really critical matchup late in the season in November at Rice-Eccles Stadium in Salt Lake City. And I don't like the sound of that at all as a K-State fan. But, if you do lose that game, if you are K-State, you hopefully will be in a position to play them again in Arlington if you do drop that game, assuming you take care of business the rest of the way. But I don't like that matchup. That one scares me a lot, but that's one that I would say is kind of a headliner for that weeks 10 to 14. The other one is I think, Matt, you just mentioned it, Arizona State at Iowa State. That's going to be pretty critical if both Arizona State and Iowa State are teams that we think they can be. And it doesn't matter what happens in Dublin necessarily. It does, but Iowa State, K-State, either of those teams can rebound from that, put it behind them, and could still end up in the top 4 of the conference, I think, by the end of the season. And based on how I have it, I have Iowa State going 9-3, but that somehow puts them in 7th place in my predictometer. But yeah, wild stuff. They go 6-3 in the league in this prediction. So I don't know what to make of that, but I think Arizona State, Iowa State's going to be interesting. It's two returning quarterbacks, that got a lot of pub last year. I don't know, man. It's just who knows what the hell's going to happen in this freaking conference, because it's a shit show. It's a shit show year in and year out.
It's tough. I think a game down to the wire. I don't know where you have Tech.
6th. Going 9-3. 6.
I got
Tech
with
Iowa State.
I have a hard time predicting Tech not to go undefeated. I'm having a hard.
Oh, interesting.
Really?
I'm having a hard time, trying to finagle a way where they don't. If they can get going to K-State is their toughest game, in my opinion.
I just don't, dude. Joey's never put it together.
I know, but like you said, when you're backed by a billionaire, you got the squad. I don't know. I don't see a hard game other than Arizona State, but
at Arizona State,
like we said, Arizona State with all the pressure on them, and you're there week 8. Who knows where Arizona State could be at? Who knows if Scatterboo really was the engine that had that thing going? Was the only reason they were any good? I don't know. I I'm having a hard time, and just going down once Tech leaves Manhattan. I don't see a way where they could lose.
I've got them losing
uh,
at Utah, at Arizona State, and at K-State.
I mean, they're
I also have that. I think Tech is a hard team to. I think a lot of the hype is changing the thought process on Texas Tech this fall.
right.
They've brought in a lot of high-profile transfers, and the vibe there is like Big 12 championship or bust. I still think road games are extremely tough to play in this conference, and especially against some of the top teams. And for me, when we talk about our standings, I put a lot of home games with a general, like, the home team is the favorite in a good portion of these games, especially early on. Like, I think Tech is a top 4 team in this conference.
Yeah.
But I also think it's going to be very hard for them to go on the road to some of these projected top teams and win games. I think I thought Utah. I believe in some of the Utah Kool-Aid. I believe in the Arizona State Kool-Aid, and I don't think they're going to win in Manhattan. So I have them at 9-3 also. But the first road game for them, I think, is the kicker. Like, if they can go on the road to Utah and show that they can win that game and they can win in a tough environment, all bets are off with them. Yeah, their toughest game might be in Manhattan, but if a team in the Big 12 race has to show that they can win games on the road, like, bar none. That's
right.
what K-State's Achilles heel is, for the most part, is like going on the road and winning some of these games. Not even necessarily, obviously, against the best teams in the conference, but at BYU, Houston, like, that's the kicker. So for me, I don't know if Texas Tech is there to win games on the road against some of these tougher projected teams, but I still think I don't know. I don't see them going 12-0 or 11-1.
Okay, so I have them. I think they probably will go undefeated going into a conference championship game. I think K-State only loses one game, and I think that is to Tech. Now, the one game that scares me on K-State's schedule outside of that Tech game, which I think is going to be daunting, just because where it lies in the schedule, it's coming off of, I think it's a bye before Tech. No, it's KU right before Tech. It's KU right before Tech, which obviously that lays it out in its own for why Tech could be one of those games where we drop. And then Oklahoma State. Now, I know I poo-pooed them just a second ago, getting slaughtered by Oregon, but we have to go to them. And we could talk about Utah and all that stuff in that road game, but the last time we beat Oklahoma State in Stillwater was like, what? Styler Thompson?
Like
Byron Pringle?
Yeah, but that's one time. And then before that, I think it was like 03.
Right. So it's Stillwater is spooky town for me, obviously. Their Halloween colors, and then you have to go down there in the middle of November, which isn't Halloween, but I mean, you get what I'm saying. I don't like that. I don't like that at all, especially that's the first leg of a back-to-back road stretch.
After a bye as well.
It is after a bye, and Kleiman curse.
Kleiman's record.
Right. So I don't like Stillwater at all. So I've got my eye on that game. I'm circling that in the biggest pin, the darkest Sharpie you could possibly find. And I need that to be a W. I need it to be.
In Halloween colors. Yeah. I mean, and back to the point on Texas Tech, they could turn around after that bye week and go drop a game at Houston. If Houston is half of what everybody's making Willie Fritz out to be, like they can jump up on a team and get them like they did with us last year. Like there's no one is out there saying that Houston isn't capable of that. Everybody's saying Willie Fritz is 100% capable of that. When you think about those two teams too, they have history. They were in the Southwest Conference together. Like Houston, I think jump up and got Texas Tech a couple times when Matt Wells was there, or at least once out of those couple times. So it's weird, man. This whole schedule, this whole season is shaping up to be a fascinating one at least, but
I don't like it.
Any other, I guess, just looking at the schedule holistically, any other pendulum games or good matchups that you want to highlight, non-conference, in conference, or otherwise?
Okay, that was my first pendulum game. I mean, obviously that sets the ground to if we don't win in Stillwater, the season's a failure, and we're gonna have to have some serious discussions. But also, I don't like where the Arizona game is at. I've been thinking about this game a lot after a service academy, going short week to Arizona, who arguably could be really bad. I don't know.
Before a bye,
but it's no Fafita. Who knows what could happen in Tucson? I don't like it. I don't like it at all. So that's another pendulum game because obviously Iowa State is the pendulum of all pendulums, but we've got to have that Arizona game work out in our favor to get the ball rolling.
Interesting. Okay. So as much as we probably want to say it, like I look at the Dublin game as it's like a de facto road game, right? You have to go through the whole process with the travel and all that type of stuff, even though it's going to probably be, 50-50 or, whatnot. I would put more stock into the Arizona game if we didn't have the game in Ireland of being a pendulum game, because you think of, in the past when we've played these games on the road in the non-conference, obviously the Tulane game last year was a game that, was not trending in the right direction for us for a good portion of that game. I think early season struggles always occur for teams going on the road against other teams. And I think you're going to take away a little bit of that with the Ireland trip and the process of, going into a completely different environment and getting ready for a football game. Arizona, Noah Fafita is going to have to have, I think, kind of a redemption year this year for people to kind of start believing, especially not having Tet McMillan there anymore. Who's going to be replacing in that situation. So I could see what you're saying with that game, but if we didn't have the Ireland game, I would probably be a little bit more concerned about the Arizona game, with that being the first kind of true road game for us. And who knows what kind of environment that's going to be on a Friday night, but I can see what you're saying. I mean, Arizona has almost a prove it mentality. And even though this game doesn't count for Big 12 conference standings, they're playing a conference foe that they are going to want to beat. So, that's an interesting one to bring up.
That's all about momentum. In my opinion, I think that game is more about the momentum more than, like you said, I mean, we've got the de facto kind of road game, the road, what is the word that I'm even looking for, where you're setting up, you kind of get your
routine.
Routine. You got your road routine already laid out when you go to the farthest game you're going to travel for all season. And then you've kind of got that already, that road dog mentality in you. Now it's just about getting the ball rolling, because you have to have games like this, the momentum going into a bye week, one of the 3 bye weeks that we have this year, which is going to be crazy in my opinion. Like, just 3 weeks of not having cats is going to be crazy. So the momentum is going to be needed, especially if UCF is really bad. go a bye week going into that game. Where's the juice? You got to have that big road win right before that to keep the ball going.
I agree. All right. Where do you have the Cats landing at the end of the season schedule-wise? And if they are losing, who are they losing to?
I already said mine. I mean, it's kind of, I've gone through the thing, and every other team it's not too hard, but it could vary. I'm having a hard time not picking Tech to go undefeated. For me, I got Tech undefeated. I got K-State, one loss, and that is to Texas Tech on Harley Day. I don't like it, but I think and that's probably worst case scenario, because I said this on the Bosco's Boys podcast when I did Blitz Month. If our one loss is to Tech, and Tech is undefeated, or they have one loss or whatever, and they make it to the Big 12 championship, and we got to go to Arlington versus an undefeated Texas Tech team, it might be an 80-20 split. I don't know. Yeah. I don't know. It's going to be Arlington is going to be jumping for Lubbock. Everything runs through West Texas. So, but I think that's the scenario I have in my head. And I know it's hard for, like, me and Matt famously argued over. This is his dream scenario. And I mean, if you think about it, I would like the chaos. I mean, it's hard for me to predict that. I think they're the most, in terms of transfer portal haul, I think they're the most talented. Now, transfer portal teams can get spicy. I mean, you could drop 4 games with a team that, is a bunch of mercenaries. I don't know, but that's how I have it. I have 2 big dogs. I think there might be a couple 3-loss teams, maybe a 2-loss team in there somewhere, but right now I have it K-State, Tech.
So in Arlington, who's winning?
I'm going to say K-State. That's just my heart right there. Like, it's just my heart. I think the game in Manhattan is going to be close. I think it's going to be close. I don't think they blow. I don't think Tech. I feel very similar to how I felt TCU, that run for their Big 12 title run, where they came up short versus a K-State team that was very good, very talented team, and they just outlasted them. So I think Tech could be in a similar boat to that. I think they could be playing with fire the entire season. They could be.
Wow. Well, my dream scenario did occur in my simulation of 2 big teams going 11-1, playing in the Big 12 championship, and both teams making the college football playoff. So I have K-State at 11-1. I have Arizona State at 11-1.
Okay.
K-State dropping a game at Utah. I have Arizona State, I think, dropping the Tech game. I can't remember which one that they're dropping. It's some Iowa State going on the road to Ames in week 10. And I have K-State winning the Big 12 championship. Yeah. So I'm ready. Who was 15th? So whoever I picked to finish 15th is winning the Big 12. Oklahoma State. Finishing 15th. They're going to the Big 12 championship game and winning the Big 12.
All right,
Might beat Oregon. Who knows?
Lock it in.
Quarterback named Heine.
Oh God.
Flores is not starting for them?
I thought it was the TCU transfer that was maybe going to start now.
Flores and House Haney or however.
Heine.
I know someone who has the same last name, and it was pronounced for them Haney, but that was, I don't know, Western Kansas 15 years ago. So I don't know. I, similar to you, have the exact same outcome. I've got Arizona State and K-State going 11-1 and meeting in Arlington. I have Arizona State dropping their game at home to Texas Tech. And I have K-State dropping the game against Utah on the road. I have K-State beating Arizona State in Arlington for the Big 12 championship. And I have both teams making the college football playoff. And in this simulation, with everyone else involved, I've got Arizona State as the 10 seed and K-State would be the 11th seed somehow in this simulation. I don't know how that works out that way. but K-State would be playing at Penn State, and Arizona State would be playing at Michigan.
Who are your 4?
Who are my 4?
Yeah, it's the
Bye?
top
So you have
four.
K- you-
Top
so
4 seeds
K-State-
get by.
K-State's 11-1, wins the Big 12. They're 12-1. Who are the 4? You don't know?
Who are the 4 above? Like the 4 automatic?
No, the 4. Yeah,
Who are the 4 bids?
buys?
The 4 automatic bids are Notre Dame, Clemson, Texas, and Oregon.
Or Notre Dame can't.
No, that's not true. They could.
They could.
They can't.
I've
get a
got Notre
bye.
Dame going 12-0 in this.
But they can't. They have to be conference champions still, right?
No.
That's
No,
still
they
the model. It's still the 4 conference champions get the thing, but it's just the straight seeding after that.
I believe
Notre
they
Dame be a
changed
top
it
4
this
seed.
offseason.
But they can't because they
No,
can't get a bye.
Notre Dame cannot be a top 4 seed in the expanded
Okay.
college football playoff.
They can't.
This whole simulator is wrong then. Fuck the simulator.
I mean, they could be the 5. Obviously, they could be the 5, but then
I
it's
was
just
like, this.
it would have to be, major program. I mean,
Programming
Okay,
error.
so wait. So who's 2, 3, and 4?
2, 3, and 4. Well, Notre Dame is 4 in this example.
Okay, so who's
so
1?
they're 5.
1, 2, and 3 are Clemson, Oregon, and Texas.
Okay. So that's
Clemson,
ACC,
Oregon.
SEC, and Big Ten.
So I would assume Clemson's probably going. They're 1, so they went undefeated. And then Oregon and
Undefeated.
Texas probably have 1 loss.
I have Texas losing to Georgia, and I have Oregon losing to Ohio State, I think.
And the conference championship because they don't play in the regular season.
No, I forget, dude. I don't know.
Okay. So
600
the
games that
simulator-
I picked.
The simulator is a fraud because we would be a 4 seed in that scenario.
Maybe it just depends on. It just means
Arizona State is a 10 and K-State's an 11. And
I have
K-State
Oregon. I have Oregon losing on the road at Penn State. That was their loss.
Okay.
Yours is more asinine than mine, and K-State is the 1 seed in mine for somehow. Arizona State
I
would
blame
be seeded above
ProFootballNetwork.com.
K-State, who wins the Big 12 championship and is
That's
12-1.
I'm not saying it makes sense. This is just what the stupid computer spit out for me.
I like.
Bring back the BCS. Let me tell you.
Seriously though, I guess it'd be interesting to go through. Chef, I don't know if you have 1 through 16, but I could at least go through like my top half and bottom half of what I have.
I mean, I have the Buckeyes.
Oh no, I was just saying for the Big 12. Like,
whole
thing.
Well, obviously I got Tech 1, K-State 2. I have Arizona State 3. I have Jesus Christ, Andre. I don't even where is it? Now my thing keeps erasing. Sorry, brother.
Oh, no.
I have to keep going back to my saved screenshot of it.
That's okay. I can go while you're doing that if you want.
Yeah, go ahead.
So obviously K-State winning in Arlington, that would put Arizona State as second place losing. I've got Utah at 10-2 with a 7-2 conference record. I think I have them dropping a game against Arizona State. I've got TCU at 9-3, 6-3 in the conference. Baylor at 9-3, 7-2 in the conference, which that would put them at 4th. Like this whole thing is jacked up. Like none of the rankings make sense. So back to the drawing board. But yeah, I've got Tech, Iowa State, both at 9-3. So I've got 4 teams at 9-3. I've got Houston going 8-4, kind of surprising some people or not surprising some people. 8-4 overall, 5-4 in the conference. KU going 7-5, 5-4 in the league. Colorado going 6-6, 3-6 in the league. Oklahoma State at 6-6, 4-5 in the league. BYU, same thing, 6-6, 3-6 overall. West Virginia at 5-7 in Rich Rod's first retread year back, 2-7 in the league. Cincy at 4-8, 2-7. Scott Satterfield getting fired. Arizona and UCF both at 2-10 and not winning a single game in the conference. And Brent Brennan getting fired, but Scott Frost will survive.
Oh my God. I do have Iowa State 4th. I have TCU 5th. No, Arizona State 4th, Iowa State 5th, TCU 6th, Baylor 7th, and then it's just a jumbled mess after that. Basically, everybody's tied.
Oh my God. I have 3 teams at 9-3: Iowa State, Utah, and Tech. TCU and Baylor at 8-4. BYU at 7-5. Yeah, it's all jumbled. Probably my biggest surprise is Colorado, 5-7,
Zoinks.
and West Virginia 3-9.
I wouldn't say that's a surprise. They're kind of projected to be like a 5.5 to 6.5 win team. So that's
Okay. West
within
Virginia, bad
standard
season.
deviation, I would say.
Mine is,
Bad-
my
bad
biggest surprise is TCU. I think TCU wins a lot of games that they probably shouldn't. I mean, I think they beat Baylor. I mean, they win a lot of games. I think they beat SMU, but Baylor loses to SMU. I think there's a lot. I think I might be a little high on TCU.
Here we go.
A little high on TCU.
Wait, what did you say they were? What'd you have them at?
I had them 6th.
What was their
At
record?
8-4.
I have them at 8-4.
I got a lot of 7-5 teams. No, we got 6-6 and 7-5 teams. I don't really have anybody really bad except for West Virginia and UCF.
Oklahoma State, Cincinnati.
I think Oklahoma State's might be bowl eligible.
Wow.
Huh. I have them bowl eligible. I've got them going 6-6, but that's not saying much.
On what grounds? Like, I just think they're. I think here's my opinion. Quarterback play out of all the positions in the Big 12 is going to be a key thing that's going to put the top teams where they need to be. It's going to be like the Big 12 of old, you know. I really think we're going to be in some pretty big offensive shootout games. We're going to see that as a theme this season. And quarterbacks are going to be of the utmost importance to keep your team in games. And a lot of the teams that I've picked towards the back of the conference have uncertain quarterback situations. West Virginia, Oklahoma State, UCF. Who else? Not Cincinnati. I mean, I know they have Sorsby, and he's pretty good.
Yeah.
You could also say that at the same token, those guys not having as much film or any film on them could lead to the coaching staff coming up with some wrinkles that maybe opposing teams aren't prepared for, which kind of what happened with Sawyer Robertson a little bit last year with Baylor. But
I mean, yeah, I think that, but it's hard to do that for 13 weeks or 14 weeks, right? Exactly. Yeah, and the beginning of the year, Oklahoma State was on the road to Oregon. Oregon doesn't have a lot of film on Heine or Zane Flores. I'm definitely not pronouncing that right, but I kind of just I'm gonna go with it. But they don't have a lot of film out there on these guys in Oregon. They put a game plan against Oregon that, whatnot. I think the top quarterbacks in the conference are top quarterbacks in the conference for a reason. They're going to lead their teams in situations to get wins. And I just believe that the uncertainty at some of the or at that position with some of these schools is really going to affect the seasons of those schools, until they, start getting quarterbacks that, are developed and ready to go.
It's interesting because, I mean, you guys are pretty high on Utah. And I mean, Devin Dampier is all right. I mean, he was a 12 touchdown, 12 interception guy at New Mexico.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's not like he is the world's best passer in an already limited offense at Utah.
Yeah.
So for me, that's why I can't get behind that. I mean, I think he adds a wrinkle that, Utah has never had with Cam. What was his name?
Cam Rising.
With his his supreme mobility, but I just can't get behind Devin Dampier until he shows me something. I mean, he did rush for 1,100 yards and 19 touchdowns.
I mean, I'm with you. I kind of want to treat it more like DeQuan Finn, but at the same time, I feel like you have to give him the benefit of the doubt until what do the sports books know that we don't know? Like, how did they just automatically pop into the top spot after media days for some reason? It doesn't make any sense to me. It's like they know something we don't know.
The Kyle Whittingham factor, everyone. The number one
so hold on,
coach in the Big 12.
But you poo-poo Gundy.
Exactly.
Well, how's Whittingham have an effect? And Gundy literally is running.
Gundy made Brandon Whedon look like God.
I poo-poo a little bit of the Oklahoma State piece because Zane Flores last season, there was a lot of hype because of him as a true freshman. You know, he didn't get a lot of time last year. Did he even get any time last year?
He was injured, right?
He was a redshirt freshman.
If you think that he is the quarterback of the future, and you decide to bring in a backup from TCU, that means you don't have faith in the quarterback situation that you have. And you have, I mean, you think of the guys that last year they had kind of a, outside of Alan Bowman, they had the Smith kid who transferred out. Like, if you truly believe Zane Flores is your guy, I would feel like there would be more optimism that the quarterback situation would be all right at Oklahoma State. And I just don't feel like, from what we're hearing, there's as much optimism with that position there as we've seen in recent years.
It is pronounced Haney. I did just look it up, by the way. And
I think the Zane Flores thing is a little blown out proportion because obviously last year they had their quarterback that they were going to ride. Well, it started was a 3-man race at the beginning of the season, I feel like, and then kind of, it leaked into the season and they kind of stunk. But Zane Flores got a medical redshirt, so he's technically still a redshirt freshman right now, and this is his 3rd season in college football. So if he can get on the healthy train, I think that's where Oklahoma State goes, and I think they can be somewhat promising. I mean, it's all about what Gundy can do with what little respect that they're given. And these are usually the seasons where he pops off. But I don't think they're very good. But I mean, I think they'll be better than bottom dwellers.
And I think there's something to be said. I don't disagree with your point on the piece about bringing in a backup transfer from TCU seems to be raising a red flag. I don't disagree with that, but at the same time, K-State brought in a starting quarterback transfer from UConn last year to come be a backup. And Colorado brought in a starting quarterback transfer to come in, Caden Salter from Liberty, and they have 5-star quarterback Julian Lewis of the future. So you could kind of slice it both ways. Like I don't know that it's necessarily it could be a red flag, but it could also just be, hey, they want to have security in case shit hits the fan with the guy that they project to be the starter, which in our case was Avery, and in their case is Zane Flores probably. But I don't know. We don't know. Deion brought both quarterbacks to media days, and apparently we did that in 2018 with Skylar and Alex Delton. So I can't poo-poo that too much. But any parting shots on a Big 12 schedule for this year before we drop for today?
Shep is always wrong.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Always wrong.
I can,
but we still love him.
And I think it's going to be interesting who has the best take of the season. I think really, if you think about it, the bag boys are really going to show what we're all talking about right now. Who's wearing the most bags is really going to be the indicator of what this episode was all about.
Interesting.
I've got my bag ready, but I think I'm going to be laughing at Matt more than anything.
Mine's still in storage. I'll be pulling it out if I need to.
Yeah, we don't keep the bag out as if we're going to lose. That's not how that works.
I'm
You shouldn't
always
be-
ready, boys.
you
I'm
shouldn't be-
always ready.
You shouldn't be proud that you have it sitting there.
I'm a bag boy at heart.
Oh my God.
I'm a bag boy at heart.
Life.
Bag boy, bag boy.
Look at this guy.
Oh my God. Well, with that, that's going to do it for this edition of Cocaine Willie. Next week, stay tuned because one of our most watched, most listened to episodes we drop every year is going to be the offensive position group preview. We're going to record both offense and defense next week, and we'll drop defense the following week. Maybe sprinkle in some special teams talk because I think we're all a little nervous about what's happening on that front between kicker and special teams coordinator and all that good stuff. But it'll certainly be a topic of conversation nonetheless. But that's going to do it for us today. Be sure to check out Cocaine Willie on social media, at Cocaine Willie, anywhere you can find us, Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, Blue Sky, whatever, you name it. Our merch store is cocainewillie.com. You can buy shirts, hats, and all sorts of other good stuff. Toddler tees. It's great. Like if you got a toddler like me, you can buy a t-shirt with his or her name on it. Not actually with their name on it, but with the Cocaine Willie logo on it. So that's pretty cool. And we are also proud members of the College Huddle. And, you can check them out at thecollegehuddle.com, which is different from the social media handle, which is at College Huddle. And we're part of the Big 12 Huddle too. And they're doing some content, and I'm getting asked to maybe do some stuff there. So we'll see if I can make time for that, but whatever. We'll see. I'll promote it on the page if we do. And Matt and I are going to be in Dublin, by the way. So I'm going to have some koozies there. So if you stop by, if you see us while we're out doing things, I might have a koozie for you. So just be prepared. So if you recognize us or see us or whatever, say hi. But that's going to do it. I'm at Bob Trollsby. Chef is at Chef Andre Napier, and Fireball Matt is at Matt Marchesini. Chef.
Cocaine's a hell of a drug, baby.
You're all coke and no joke, Wildcat Country.
Let's rock.
Let's ride.